now that we have our wires routed, we're going to go ahead and start connecting these to the interior fuse box. A few things to note first. Make sure you label your wires prior to routing. I should have mentioned this earlier, but I did have little marks on the tips. I've went ahead and put some bigger labels so you guys can see it for the video. What you're going to do is we're going to identify what we need to connect here. So on the instructions, we have 4 wires to connect. We have red, black, orange, and white. What I'd like to go ahead and do is go ahead and start with the black first for the ground. Of course, we don't want to connect any of these until the ground is in order. At this point, the battery is still disconnected. So let's go ahead and strip the black, and we are going to insert this terminal because this is going to go over a bolt which is going to be attached to the subframe. So I'll explain what happened here later, but let's go ahead and find our black. So we have black, and we know that the black is for ground. Black, okay. So we're going to take our wire stripper again, go to 16 gauges. Okay, we have our wire exposed. Going to take our terminal, slip it on over the terminal, take our crimper, put it in between. This one you can kind of line up where you want to be. And then once we feel like we have a good connection, we're going to crimp down and squeeze. Alright, and we have our ground connection. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is show you where we're going to attach this guy. Here is the clutch pedal. We are going to go up and attach it to the bolt, which is located right there where my fingernail is. So let me get this guy routed and we'll come back. Alright, so what we've done is secured our ground. Let me show you what it looks like. There's the bolt. You can see the blue terminal coming out and our ground wire here. I'm probably going to clean this up in a little bit and tuck it a little bit higher because this clutch pedal will be moving forwards and backwards, but for now we'll go ahead and just leave that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next connection. So we'll go back to our instructions here. Let's go with the bottom, white, 12-volt ignition power with the key on. Basically, they want us to plug into a fuse that only has power when the key is in the ignition and the car is turned on. So, speaking with J. Ricker M. on 8th Civic, again, a big shout out to him for all his help. He recommended putting this at the slot number 1. Which is 7.5 amps, which is what we want. And if we look here, we can confirm in our owner's manual that slot number 1 is for the power windows. And of course, power windows are only on when there's power, which is exactly what we want for our white wire. So this is the white wire right here. What I went ahead and did was I added a ADA circuit, which is everything from this blue butt connector down to this piece. You're going to insert your 16 gauge extension wire here and crimp it with your crimping tool. And then at the end here, there are 2 slots on the fuse, which is why it's called add a fuse. The top slot is always going to be for your accessory or your boost gauge. This has a capacity of 10 amps at most. From what I've read, your boost gauge does not need more than 7.5, so we have a 7.5 amp fuse for the boost. The bottom fuse is going to be for the one that came with the car. If you go to slot number 1, on the bottom here, it actually came with this fuse. I pulled this out of there. This also says 7.5. However, you will notice that the teeth on this are very short, which makes it impossible to add that to the ADA fuse, because the teeth need to be long. That's not a big deal. Actually, it's a good excuse to change the fuse. A lot of these ATA circuits, this is the box it came in, come with fuses, and you can just look for another one that says 7.5, and these have longer teeth, and so I went ahead and plugged in a new 7.5 amp at the bottom. So what we're going to go ahead and do is check to see whether our accessory